So I'm now inside the gate at Xi'an, and this is the entry gate here, and I'll just pan around so you can see a little bit. This is an old town, and I hope to just wander through the town. As I wander down through the tourist area, it's fairly well developed. Probably will explode out in the next couple of hours when the tour buses get here. But what I'm looking for is the gate tower and the Xuguo Archway. Only surviving one problem is getting through all the faux china to get to what may be the older stuff. As in most countries, the important thing to find first is the toilet. Here's a magnificent hearing dragon, I forget what they call it, dragon wall. And I'm pretty confident it's a relatively new, if not brand new, artifact. This may be interesting, but it's still probably relatively new. Yeah, you can see from the stonework. But it would be pretty with the fountain going. Green water's got to give you pause. These mops that they use oftentimes are black in color. I think that may reflect the accumulated filth that's on them, because I don't think they ever use any disinfectant in the water. I guess this is another route for the tours that they'll come flying down through here. Okay, and I think this is the large Ming gate tower that we're looking for. The only one and the largest one that survives in China that is square. Okay, we'll take a closer look at this as we're able to take. Through it is that archway, and we'll get a closer look at that in a moment. Spend a little bit of time with the detail. Some kind of animal, maybe a tiger. Here's certainly the emperor's symbol, the dragon, with its many different animal characteristics. What I've noticed is the convexity of this panel. I hadn't noticed that before. Usually they seem to be just flat on the side. And what's interesting is that this doesn't have any function other than as a gate to walk through and a device for showing off symbols. And it's not like a defensive tower at all. This may be the Greer falcon, or I don't think it's the phoenix bird. It looks like it may be contending with some dragons of its own on the sides. A couple more dragons. This may be a watchtower as well as a gate, I'm not sure. It looks old, but who knows really. And there's something there beyond. That's the tourist area that I just walked through. It looks like a new base there for sure. I'm panning around at what soon will be, I'm sure, completely tourist developed set of shops. Here, an old authentic looking base and a gate tower above it. This looks like the remnants of wall. So maybe what we're at is a corner or some element of what was early on a defensive wall. There you can see the remains of that wall through the arch there, trailing off to the right. And this may be it, I don't know. No reason to buy a ticket that I can see, since most people can get access just wandering in from anywhere. This seems to confirm that it is indeed the Xuguo Archway. Still trying to find something other than this arch that has any semblance of antiquity worth looking at, other than the huge array of tourists. I have no idea what's inside these dumplings, but it tastes good. It's a little bit sour, and I put some soy sauce on it. I don't know what's in there yet, but I'll find out a couple times. This is a special local drink made from beans. It costs 1 yuan, and it's she called it a drink, but it comes in a bowl. And the lady that saw me spoke good English and told me this is a very good place, and she comes here every day. So, and that's where they make it, right there, on one of those heaters. Down here, she also mixes some of these different ingredients. You probably get to choose what you want. And then that lady there, I think, whips them up into a pancake. Notice I bit into the dumpling and some kind of meat. Now when you got all the goodies in that you want, then she folds it up. And this tastes like a milk, but very sweet, very good. So they gave me a spoon, but I'll just drink it straight out of the bowl. It's a lot easier. If you want a good example of free enterprise in action, here in the foreground is a similar establishment, and there's one person kind of quizzically looking at stuff, and a lady on her bike may be getting stuff. But the one that I ate in has been continually packed inside and on the outside with people waiting for what they wanted to buy. Somebody's got the quality, somebody's got the reputation. Eating experience and good food and a good interaction with locals. I'm now just cruising, looking for something interesting, particularly something that might relate to the old town, but I can't find anything. It's all local. I think the use of this old-time scale is just really a trick. I'm just wandering now, looking for any place that looks interesting as a direction. This looks like a milk churn or a cheese churn. Pretty little vignette up there, but there may be nothing here. There's a pretty little intersection, and up above this hillside, for whatever reason, just keep wandering down these little back alleys, having a clue where they're gonna go. Look for the most interesting turn. Well, that's interesting, but it didn't go anywhere. But look at that arch back there. Was there once a residence there that gave access to? Just thought this bird hanging outside of a door is interesting. Interesting place for the bird also to be. Fairly good sized bird, not much of a cage. That's its life. This appears to be a somewhat older building, but otherwise we're completely surrounded by relatively new construction. In fact, like much of Europe, you can look at this entryway, arch if you will, for lack of a better term. And notice that I bring the camera straight down in the middle of that. Here's an old doorway, stone. There's the entrance, all closed in with a small window. And then to the right, another entrance that's been made out of using the right half of this left entrance and putting in a new one here. And that looking fairly old. Here a little bit of architectural interest, but it's not all that much. And while this isn't as exciting as the other villages I was at, it's all on a day's adventure. Better than sitting in Kochi's stronghold thinking about what to do that day. This is just the inside area of a relatively new complex. And where I'm at here is apparently a sewing area. And there's just some shops here where they do sewing. Forget what the term is for that one. Little home businesses. This is kind of like a piecework. This is where you see parts of it assembled, and she'll do another chunk of it. And then I don't know what she's doing, but anyway, this is probably almost the finished product here. And then there's the label. Okay. And I think this lady's doing the quality control. She checks it to make sure that everything is working correctly, that everything is sewn correctly. If it's not, you pick it up. Now you may chuckle at that little experience, but for me it was fun. For them it was fun. They're still laughing away. I'm probably the most exciting thing that's happened to them in a long time in that little place. I'm not likely to find anything as interesting as I found in the other villages, but I'm looking now for the slightest little nuances of interest. I just thought the symbolism was interesting. Could this little building be a chunk of the past? Some past. Some old artifacts from the past. Now what's interesting is these streets I'm wandering around seem to be very, very clean.